Would you look at that? In today's video, we will be installing the new parts for the project truck that you guys have already seen by now. It's a D150. Our problem with it was the computer was fried. Well, guess what? I don't really care to put another computer in it. So what we're doing is like a cheaper alternative, and that I don't really know what the problem is. So I want to delete all of that wiring to the computer and everything, and just wire everything myself. So we are converting it back to an old school 5-pin ignition system. Now I'll show you guys. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. I'm not going to try to make it too boring for you guys. Yeah, but I'm going to show you guys something real quick that you guys will probably get confused on, because I know I was a little bit at first. So just hang on one second. Okay, so for starters, this is going to be your module, or your ignition control module right here. And so this is the 5-pin. That's why it's called a 5-pin connector. Each one of these pins go to something. I don't actually have the plug for this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to crimp wires into each one and like make my own plug, just because I don't feel like waiting or trying to find a plug. Okay, here's the part that I was confused on. Now mine doesn't look like some of the videos I watched, and so you have to distinguish between which side of these is 5 ohms and which side is 2 ohms, because that matters, because some of the wires have to go to a certain side of ohms. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your voltmeter, you're going to put it in the ohms position. It kind of looks like a headphone symbol, and you're going to put one there and one there. Okay, and that is going to test for the ohms. And as you can tell, oh, hang on, it might not be on all the way. So I don't think it's on all the way. Okay, so as you can tell, this is the 2 ohm side. Obviously, I'm shaking around, that's why it's jumping like that. But that's the 2 ohm side, obviously. And then you would go to this side and test. And that's the 5 ohm side. So then what I did is I just took a marker and just wrote 5 and 2, so that way you know the difference. I just wanted to show you guys that because I know some people might get confused on that. So right now we're going to go out there and we're going to start wiring on the truck. Okay, so right off the bat, we're going to actually take this connector that goes to the distributor right here, and we're going to cut this off the harness. So we'll cut this off because we're going to use it. And as you can tell, that plugs into the distributor. You have to make sure that you have this plug style distributor. If you don't, you need to get one that's designed like that. Okay, so I actually went and heat shrinked these. I think I'm going to wrap it. Actually, I'm not going to wrap it yet because I got to distinguish colors. But yeah, I heat shrinked it because I want everything to be nice. Okay, so now we need a key on power, and that would be this wire I ran right here, which actually goes from the blue wire on the ignition. You can also trace that wire all the way down to right here. It goes to the computer. I don't think I need to keep that hooked up. If I do, I'll fix that later, but I doubt it because nothing to do with this computer we are using. So have my key on power ran, and I believe all that's left is we have to run some stuff to the coil. And then we have to wire up the resistor too. So I'll catch back up to you guys once I get that stuff figured out. Okay guys, so a little bit of a jump in time. We got the truck to actually run. So I'm going to start it real quick and show you guys that. It's been sitting since yesterday, so this might be a little bit of a cold start, I don't know. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? It actually has a fuel leak right there. I think it just needs a little hose. you guys that. So we wired up the 5-pin ECU, which you guys had saw that. And one thing I did want to show you guys is a way to, so instead of having to buy that connector for the ECU, because it's like $70, go buy these. It's a bullet terminal, and they're literally, it's a 16 to 14 gauge, and they're the perfect size to where they slide on just as good as a connector. So if you look right there, obviously I'm going to clean up the wiring and stuff. I literally just got it running yesterday and moved it back here into, oh, can't see that. You can't see that. Hey, but I literally just got it back here yesterday because I just got it running yesterday. So it's a little bit of a jump in time, and I'm probably missing out a lot. I have no idea where we left off, but yeah, so it's running now. We're getting ready to try to put the dash back in it, and it did drive okay to the up to here. At least it stopped and everything else. So I do need to get a battery for it, and I do need to do like the valve cover gaskets and stuff like that, but I want to kind of drive it beforehand so I can see everything it needs. And I do want to keep note. So we've only put $30 into this truck so far. So I want to make this kind of like a budget thing, like to see how cool we can make it with the lowest amount of money. So $30 into it to get it running, $600 into it to buy it. So technically we have $630 into it total right now. So yeah, guys, I think that's going to be it for today's video, unless I get the dash in. But we might save that for a separate video, because I'm imagining this is going to be pretty long. So but yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you guys like the new build. Comment below any ideas you might have for it. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Deuces. Hey guys, I'm actually editing this video right now, and realized that I feel like I didn't really go over everything all that well. So I do want to mention that the time period where I like stopped videoing. I thought I filmed the whole install of the ECU swap, the Chrysler 5-pin swap, but I guess I didn't. Probably because I kept having a bunch of problems with it. So pretty much you just run a wire to the positive terminal on the coil, a wire to the negative terminal on the coil, and then you run that back to the Chrysler ECU, and then like some of the wires jump over from the ECU to the ballaster, and so on and so forth. So for those that actually like are confused on something or like in here for answers, comment on the video and I will get in contact with you personally and help you out with wiring it, because I know that for me it was hard to find any like realistic, like truthful diagrams or like good videos explaining how to go about wiring that, which is the main reason why I wanted to make this video. So I apologize in advance for not finishing that out. Another thing I did want to touch base on is that after I did get the truck to produce spark, I was having problems where it was just the driver's side that was sparking, and it really kind of threw me off. But it ended up being that the battery was so low in voltage that it wasn't rotating the distributor fast enough to produce spark on all of the cylinders. So then the next day I had spark on all of the cylinders, and then the next problem was I noticed that I wasn't getting any fuel. So I was starting to use starting fluid and whatever else, and it still wasn't firing, and I thought that was really strange to me. And it was actually backfiring out of the carburetor, and it was backfiring out of the exhaust if I would rotate the distributor. So I ended up finding out because the guy that had it before me ended up putting a distributor in it, a coil, and like some other stuff, because he went through everything thinking that he fried something as far as ignition goes. And he actually put the distributor in backwards. So I ended up flipping that around, and the truck started to kind of like somewhat start and shut off, and I kept adjusting the distributor and got it to start off of like starting fluid and everything else. One thing to note is that if you have a truck that's been sitting for a long time, more than likely the carburetor is dry of fuel, and with those being a mechanical fuel pump, it is gonna take a while. You have to crank it for a while for it to actually prime. So if you fill up like a paint can full of, or a paint can lid, like a spray paint can lid full of gasoline, you dump it in the carburetor, it'll help get the truck to run long enough to prime the fuel system. I know for me it still took a minute to crank, and eventually did start on its own. So just something to note. The truck actually is going to need precisely timed with a timing light. I might make a video on that. I'm clueless when it comes to this stuff. This is all learning for me. Like, I've learned all of this within the last week. This is all new to me. I've never messed with distributors. I've never messed with carburetor. So yeah, and this whole Chrysler ECU, wiring that up, all new to me. But it's a good feeling because I did learn all of it within this week. So I appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, comment below if you have any issues. But in the meantime, thanks for watching another video, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks, guys. Deuces.